serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Well, hello and welcome to another day on VOP this morning. It's a beautiful day indeed.
A very beautiful day. Throwback Thursday.
Well, Throwback Thursday. I'm Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Masina Chiokafor.
And Jerry joins us on the show today. Good morning to you, Jerry.
Good morning, first time, and of course we hope it's a delightful one.
Oh, definitely will be a delightful one. Definitely. Well, Jerry usually would be a sport anchor, but he joins us on the show today. Not just talking sports, but we'll talk politics and every other thing in between. All right? Now, talking about some of the issues, the topics we'll be dwelling on today, we have our focus actually will be on the dissolution of the CBN's dissolution of boards of Union Bank, Keystone Bank, Polaris Bank, and Titan Bank.
And then secondly, we're going to be talking about the fact that EFCC has said that they will go after Nigerians not playing according to rules. Who's saying that? Olukoyede wants. That's the new chairman of the EFCC. But before that, let's get into these stories. We encourage you to like our YouTube page, go on YouTube and subscribe to our page. We are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. As always, you know, the newspaper comes first.
Yes, the newspaper comes first. And I will take this away from Masinachi, who would usually want to take a punch from the punch newspaper.
Yeah.
But
take the punch for me.
All right, then, no problem. Well, we do have with us in our studio to make sense of the stories on the papers. We have Sheson Okwade, who is a public affairs commentator and an analyst as well. Policy analyst and public affairs commentator.
Good morning.
Good morning to
Moses.
you.
Good morning to
Good
you.
morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Good morning to all our viewers this morning. Great to be here on a Throwback Thursday.
Yes, Throwback Thursday.
Good to have you here. So let's go into the Punch newspaper. Interesting headlines, but we'll tread softly because it's our it's our first topic for this morning. Now, CBN sacks Union, Polaris, Keystone Bank's boards. Modibo. Over 25 bank chairmen, MDs, directors sacked to resign, or asked to resign, I beg your pardon. Interim boards likely today. CBN warns against panic withdrawals. Well, the list of the interim boards has been published already, so we have their names, which we will share in the course of the program. But let's look at some of the headlines from the Punch as well. We have marketers to meet Dangote over fuel supply. COVID-19 not over, 10,000 deaths recorded. December, WHO. NGX records 638 billion naira loss. First in New Year. Sex for Mark. Suspended Unical Don still in prison after 250 million naira bail. Sanwo-Olu hails Otedola's 1 billion naira security donation. And on top of the nameplate, the Edu story. Edu EFCC quizzes top ministry officials. ICPC recovers 50 billion naira. Naira plunges to 1,082 naira a dollar after CBN $2 billion repayment. Obasanjo's ex-minister Agunloye arraigned for $6 billion Mambila contract. Now, I do know that there are headlines that will interest you from this paper, but I would like to put this one forward first, and then you could pick other headlines that you've heard and you want to respond to. Edu's story. The story, it's a continued unveiling. That's what we're seeing here. Now, we hear that some monies, 50 billion naira, was recovered between July and August. It was actually recovered between July and August last year when the new minister had not been appointed. The old the minister, the former one, was not very active. And doesn't that mean that this embezzlement thing has been, in that ministry for the longest time?
Moses, if you ask me, it's not only particular to the humanitarian ministry. It cuts across several of those ministries because of we don't have a structure, we don't have a system, and there is no institution. Most of the time, we build everything we do around individual, and the person comes to bear, make his own known, and that's why you say that we don't have continuity in some of the things we are doing. It's part of the things we've been agitating for. People will tell you that we don't have good laws, we don't have policies. I can tell you that we have the best craft out in the world. I won't say in Africa, in the world. But our major problem is always when it comes to implementation. And there is this thing, the big masquerade I always refer to, that takes precedence before anything. And that's great. Everything everyone tries to do, it's about what is it in it for me to gain against what all of us will benefit from. And that's just the major problem that we are faced with currently. That seems to see practically everybody that has gone through one ministry or the other, we always have a repeated issue of corruption. And I will tell you this, which is quite interesting. Anti-graft agencies are meant to be a check on some of the activities that are being carried out by these MDAs and the agency. But mention to me one of the anti-graft agency chairman that has left ceremoniously, right from the time of the creation of the...
One would now wonder...
So you ask yourself, when the hunter
well.
is being hunted, it becomes a problem. They are supposed to be the spotlight to say, this is actually not being done. That is even anti-graft. But do you know, within the system of every ministry, there is this internal control. That's why we have the AGF, the Auditor General's Office, who has the representative in all MDAs. And their responsibility is to oversee the policy, the process, to make sure that people align with them. But how much of it do we have? We see instances of connival and people breathing policy. If you look at this case, you ask yourself the issue, where is the PS in this scheme? The man just came and said, okay, this is what the minister wants to do, and he's just folding and looking. Now he's in the person is where he's not supposed to be, and it will just... So if we are people...
We can't be certain because
but as we speak, we are not hearing.
From what ICPC is saying, the 50 billion that was recovered was... The embezzlement was perpetrated by other people within the ministry. So who knows?
That is the first tranche that we're talking about. The bigger one. Now there you see when you say 50 billion compared to 500 and something million. When you weigh some of those things, it's trickles that actually metamorphose into the bigger one. And it's because control mechanisms are not followed to letter. People that are supposed to put the stop or to halt some of those processes are not just doing what they're supposed to do. And
all right, now let's look at some of the headlines. Which other one would you want to respond to here?
Okay, maybe the other one will discuss it on the main topic, the banking issue. Maybe I'll look at the Agloe. You see, imagine Agloe when he left system. Each time I wake up, I tell everyone, people that picked up their documents, everything, and say they want to japa, it's just mere punishment. And people will say, Sheson, why are you saying that? Imagine $6 billion, dollars that was referred to for a Mambila project. When? Years back, more than 10, 12 years ago. Imagine the value of that currency then. If they have actually put in use Mambila project, by now, so what I see most of the time is that we do not follow through some of the things. We disburse funds, and it's still happening. You disburse funds for a particular project, and we do not follow through to make sure that those projects are executed. We have Mambila project, we have Ajakula Steel, which should have been a point of input to some of. You can imagine if our steel is working. Who says we cannot produce vehicles there? Yeah. There are several things that the steel industry would definitely give. Mambila project would have actually contributed to the bottom line. In the power sector, we have a lot of failures this day. A lot of companies are packing up, not because of anything, but because of power. You can imagine when you cannot sustain it. Even where we are, I'm very sure, not even up to that, we will be on alternative power supply. When we should when we should definitely be enjoying the power supply. Imagine the contribution of what the alternative power supply, like diesel, genset, and all those things are contributing to the economic, to the ecology system. These are things I feel that most of the time when we even see some of these things, it's like a lip service. You come and say somebody has actually done this and there is no punishment. The person will come. If Oyinloye comes out and says, okay, indeed this happened, we misappropriate those funds, but I can tell you I will return back 2 billion. We'll get Agloye will return back the 2 billion out of the 6 billion, and you let him go and you say that's plea bargaining. And you ask yourself, what happened to the other 4 billion? So the question is, we must start going. You see, most of my lawyer friends will say, Sheson, your approach to it is maybe you relocate to China. We should start having capital punishment. And why do I keep saying this? The activity of some of those people is killing an average citizen. Imagine when your businesses are not growing, you are dying economically. Imagine when the health sector is not going, people are dying. And you have resources that you are that are meant for the development of some of these things. And people will now come, you still see them going freely on the street, coming to even the contest, and the height of it is even giving them chieftaincy title, like we had. It's quite funny.
All right, then let's get into another paper now.
Moving on to Daily Trust this morning, the banner headline says, bodies of 11 Fulani arrested by soldiers found in Kaduna forest. And then the subwriter, I was taking my son to hospital when he was arrested. Our houses raided, property taken away, says headman. We don't kill people after arrest, Army says. We're looking into the matter, Kaduna government. And then, some of the nameplates we have, despite $2.2 billion Afrexim Bank's inflow, Naira continues to depreciate. Supreme Court fixes Friday for judgment in Kanu-Guba dispute. War on Gaza. ICJ begins hearing genocide case against Netanyahu today. And then $6 billion Mambila project. Court remands ex-power minister Agunloye in Kuje prison. 20 die in Rivers boat accident. Tinubu appoints new boards of Nakon Christian Pilgrim Commission. After investigators report, CBN dissolves boards of Union Bank, Keystone, and Polaris banks. Action could unsettle banking sector. Investors, Professor Ife is saying. So which of these headlines would you want to react to, apart from the one that we're going to talk about, of course?
Yeah, I think I want to go the route of that foreign exchange, where Afrexim Bank is actually pumping in some money, and we're still seeing the Naira, being depreciated.
Yeah.
The question is, maybe we'll discuss more when we get to the CBN issue. I think our regulators are not doing so much that is expected of them. And why will you ask me say this? A lot of this foreign exchange are actually being collected by people that do not need it, and they resell or to make gain. You can imagine when you have access to some of this foreign exchange and you're just making 5 naira and you're getting millions of it without even carrying anything. You are just posting on with millions on particular trading. No stress. No stress. Everybody look for easy access to this funds if you have the high and mighty eye up there. And I keep telling them, it's like they know the people, but to go after them is always the issue. And because we are struggling with foreign exchange, which is dollar. I'm sure you know very well that Naira, that is supposed to be our own currency, we are over struggling on it. And you ask yourself, CBN keep telling us that we have a lot of funds in circulation, but you and I are not having access to it. In the last 1 month, having access to ATM, collecting money from ATM, I have not seen anyone working. I let somebody come picking. I have checked every day. I go out and I try to access 1, 2, 3 ATMs. You will not see money. The only area where you get money is from POS. You ask yourself.
It's not disheartening that like the day I went to withdraw money from the ATM and then I could only withdraw 1,000.
1,000
yes,
naira. So
like
you
they
can
were only
imagine
going to give me 1,000.
1,000 naira. Your funds that you actually. So are they asking us to resort back to the old type of banking where you keep your money, to yourself, because you are actually keeping those things there for safety, so that you can have access to it. But now, the other day I was sharing with someone that had to visit the POS and to collect 20,000, I paid 1,200 naira on it. And the accountant in me asked the question, what is the book value of money? So if I'm to give out 20,000, so I'm giving you physical cash of 20,000. But in my books, that's 21,200 naira. So if I want to say how much I gave to you, I'm giving you 21,200, but you only add value to 20,000. So you look at what is actually happening. A lot of for me, when we get to the other side, maybe some of these decisions they're taking might be favorable to the bank, because most of the bankers know who they give the money to. Maybe they can visit Moses when they look at the size of the funds in his account and say, in fact, they will be the one to call Moses. Okay, Moses, I hope you have enough cash at all. You ask yourself the question, there is, limitation, having access to it. Yeah. But you go to parties, they don't even spray in pieces again. They give in bundles. And they are the new notes. Who are the people availing this money to the third party out there?
And then you see people selling cash.
At the party,
money, yeah.
At the party, at the cost. The other time I was asking someone at the party to say, okay, I'm an analyst, I must have a feel of what is going on. And I said, can I get a pack of 200 naira? And he said, I will be paying 32,000. That is 12,000 extra because I want to spray Jerry 20,000 naira. Is Jerry aware that money I'm spraying him is not 20,000 that he will get value for? Or it's 32,000?
And the fact that you even bought it.
It's this thing, and you cannot have access to it at ATM. You cannot have access to those money at the bank. A friend make an experience to tell me that, Sheson, do you know, even within the bank, they give restriction of what you can collect, what you can withdraw. So if that is happening within the system, so what becomes of you? Forex is not available, Naira is not available, and we have regulators not monitoring what is expected of them. That's just and it's impacting on businesses, I must say.
Indeed.
It's impacting on businesses, because even the e-payment platform we rely on, a lot of failures are still being there. Even though there have been improvement after the cash crunch we had early last year, there has been significant improvement, but I feel we can do better. People should have that confidence in some market women. You can't do transfer. People still do dodge transfer, where you do fake alerts.
But then apart from that, you go to the market and then you find it very difficult to make transfers. You see that they will tell you that there's no network. The network is bad.
That has nothing to do with the bank now. You're not talking of the telco. And when you talk of the telco, it's not the telco's problem. You take it to the power. Because I have experience working in that sector. A lot of them are running on diesel. And when there is no power and the diesel is not available, the base station serving that particular location goes down. And for the number of hours that you have to run helter-skelter to source for diesel and it will be down. And you are just there trying to make transfer, and the internet is not going. You even see 4G, 5G on your phone, and nothing is moving on. So you can see the interrelated situation with the bank to the telescope to the power sector. So when you start from behind to make sure that we have good power sector working, the telcos we have fall in place. So that is why we say we must be intentional to make sure that activities flow the way it is. We have the resources. Just be intentional to do the right thing so that every citizen can. I can tell you, there is nowhere like Nigeria with the number. If other developed countries that we're talking of have this misappropriation of funds the way we are, they will cease to exist as a nation. But we keep hearing that right from 1999, a lot of misappropriation that are actually not being refunded in the hands of individuals but the country still keep moving on.
Forward.
All right then.
Just is something that is very laughable, but we'll continue to speak
But
apart.
Nigerians are strong.
Well, you say that.
Strong and resilient, you want to put it that way. All right, still taking more news paper review. We'll go back to Tribune. Of course, on the top of the Tribune newspaper, we have Army redeploys 975 officials, cancels 120 postings. On the rider, exercise a routine spokesman. And of course, going over to the right hand side of the top of the newspaper, we have alleged $66 billion Mambila power fraud. Soyinka raises the alarm as court remands Agunoye in Kuje prison. All right, and of course, to follow up to that, Otedola donates 1 billion naira to Lagos Security Trust Fund. And a follow-up of that, Makinde bans over 100 patrol vehicles to police. Hands over 100 patrol vehicles to police. Army orders. I will appear in court to prosecute people charged with corruption. ICPC chairman. And of course, on the big one, CBN sacks boards of Union, Keystone, Polaris banks. Court to deliver judgment in suit seeking to stop elections from holding on Saturdays. Okay. Attack on Echocho, Kogi government arrest 6 on the rider. How I was attacked. Still more on Tribune. Amotekun arrest 2 caught with human head, body parts in Saki. And still more on Tribune. EFCC to grill Edu, Sadia, Halima daily until God knows when. And of course, prospective core members now to register with NIN. That's it on Tribune, and we'd like you to react on that.
Yeah, well, all the stories there are quite fantastic, but I think I want to pick on the path of the contribution by Otedola to Lagos State Security Trust
1
Fund.
billion.
1 billion. That's a fantastic contribution. He's actually been doing that. When you read the man's story, he's passionate about contributing to the growth of people. I just want to encourage the government of Lagos State. We've enjoyed at least, let's say, minimal, good security architecture. Let's invest this to make sure that we are more secure than Lagos. Don't forget that we are the mega city. We're building a mega city, so we must improve on our security architecture, because a secured environment is a prosperous nation. So, and I think Makinde is following suit with the handing over of 100 vehicles to the security apparatus. I'm sure you know your state seems to be the largest in Africa in terms of geographical region. You need to pick it. Is it from Ibadan to Shaki that you mentioned? It will shock you that you can travel close to 2 hours within your state, going from one city to another. So you need to make sure that you invest in the security architecture. When we are secure, gone are those days in Lagos where people wants to even move out at 12 midnight, 2 midnight. People go out on night shifts, even with their work. But these days, a lot of organizations are shut that down because of insecurity that pervades everywhere. A lot of people keeps complaining. You are moving in the evening around 6, 7, and you have your vehicle, got faulty on the road, and people are just out there to, take some of your belongings and some of those things. I think some of these funds can be used to make sure that we have more of the security personnel. We have more of infrastructure that can actually make sure that things, go the right way, so that more people will be attracted to invest more in Lagos. And being the commercial hub of the nation, we can have more investment. Even if we are small in size, we welcome every other person, but we must start scrutinizing things. And maybe on the last note, I would want to say that the Lagos State should be more intentional about this residence permit. We should start monitoring the people that are coming into Lagos State, and not just that alone, encourage the grassroots stuff, local government, the CDC, the CDA, where you can have a database of people that reside in your locality, and when they exit and move to another place, you have that, so that we can have a consolidated database, so that when we have a stranger, we can police them. I'm an advocate of saying community policing, state policing is the way to go, because if 4 of us are here and we have another strange person, we can ask questions. We are not comfortable with it. We'll report to the security agency who will pick him up and do what is needful. And maybe on the final note, the one that has to do with the ICPC chairman, I'll meet every one of them in court. Well, we all know what it is when you go to court. How often do we get speedy, judgment on some of the things that has to do with this corrupt allegation?
But it seems like the ICPC is more or less like the quiet side of, in terms of the arms of anti-graft corruption.
Well, for me, I won't say they are quiet. I have not been seeing them working. That's if you say they are quiet, it's like they are doing on the G work. I've not been seeing so much of their activities. I asked their PR where he is, because if you are really doing work, people will see. Even if your PR is not working, people will definitely blow the trumpet for you. But we've been seeing more of EFCC than the ICPC. And ICPC are meant for the government functionaries and agency. And that's where we have more atrocity being perpetrated compared to the Economic and Financial Crime Commission. So for me, they should wake up, because the fate of every individual lies in the hands of government, because they are the highest employer of labor. They are actually there to provide security and better welfare for the citizen. So if a lot of misappropriation are going on there, and the anti-graft agency meant to actually checkmate the activity are not doing anything, then there is problem for us as a nation.
Well, time is not on our side. If not, I would have asked you about the duplicity in ICPC and EFCC. But anyway,
they are two distinct things.
Really?
They are two distinct things. One is on the other side to monitor more of the private sector, while ICPC deal more of
Shouldn't they be
it.
merged and increase their numbers? And then
maybe we consolidate them and now have directorates as one. Just like what they are projecting for the revenue sector, to say, okay, you have one revenue agency, but all other arms that are generating revenue, we have directorate under them. Maybe that would be a good suggestion, at least to stream the cost of operation for that particular unit.
All right, then. Well, time is of the essence, and our time for the newspaper review is up. Going into a major talking point now. The Apex Bank, CBN, has dissolved boards of Union, Keystone, Polaris, and Titan banks. Details when we come back.